Ghana's Year of Return was a program launched in 2019 that aimed to reconnect the African diaspora with their ancestral homeland, in this case, Ghana. Now, the initiative commemorated the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first enslaved Africans in Virginia in 1619. It encouraged our African diaspora members to visit, relocate to, and invest in Ghana. Visit? Yes, I encourage everyone to visit any safe parts of Africa like Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Botswana, the Ivory Coast. I could go on and on. Relocate? I think you're crazy. And now this program was created by Ghana's unpopular former president, and his unpopularity was due to widespread corruption, and that corruption extended to Black Americans.
President Akufo-Addo is impressed with the results so far made from the Year of Return. He spoke to Haitian American journalist Roland Martin.
I don't know whether shock is the word, but certainly, let me say, it's more than I expected. I had hoped that it would have a big resonance, but it has, I think, had a much bigger resonance than I had anticipated. It's a very welcome one. You want us to use the word shock, all right, but it's a very welcome shock, and I'm very happy that the initiative has evoked the response that it has.
Obviously, there's an economic piece to it in terms of for the tourism industry here in Ghana, but also for so many people, it has been deeply personal. Individuals, they've shed tears, the historical impact as well. What did you want people? What did you want, and what do you want them to get out of this experience of returning to Ghana, many of them for the first time?
I think really something quite simple. A recognition that really we are all the same. We are from one family. We are now divided by the ocean, the Atlantic, and of course by the history, very tragic history. But then essentially we are still one family.
So the government was not interested in the average Joe trying to flee quote unquote racist America. They sold it to celebrities and those that had money. Now look at how they welcomed people in Ghana. And in return, they convinced celebrities to buy bonds, which became worthless. After a year, others built schools in less privileged towns and villages. And to the American brother, it was a spiritual connection to the ancestral motherland. Now, I don't want to dispute that all Black diaspora can trace their origins to the African continent. Some have found that they come from different countries on the continent. And I can understand why there would be a desire to travel to a place that is predominantly Black and have no white influence or power, right? So what I have just described can be experienced as a visitor. You can go there as a tourist. And I recommend going like you would go to Mexico or Jamaica. Just a tropical adventure trip with a cultural excursion that opens the wounds of how slavery started and the things that were done to the slaves. The dungeons, the slave castles in Elmina and in Cape Coast, these are worth visiting. The faunas and the forests of the Kakum Park is a must-see due to its proximity to the castles. Now, cities like Kumasi, the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom, is definitely a treat. But beyond tourism, your welcome expires. The government would have taken almost $5,000 from you to acquire citizenship. But wait, are you not returning home, like how do you charge your family a fee to be part of a family? The government doesn't see you as a family. They, in short, they see you as a paycheck. And the Africans know this. So the cost of living is also different for me than it is for you. For example, if I buy a coconut for $1, you're going to pay $1.50 for it. And they're not ashamed to tell you that you're a foreigner. So the truth is, you're a foreigner. Our neighbor, Togo, you speak the same language as most of our tribes in Ghana do. And whenever they cross the border and come to Ghana, we still call them foreigners. So imagine coming from the US and going over there. A lot of Africans are going to relate to you as a foreigner. The one thing I want to bring up, food. So across the African continent, food is diverse. My wife is from Zambia in the south. I am from the west. And I struggle to eat some Zambian food. And I've been introduced to Zambia for over 10 years. You'll have to hire a chef. And that can get very, very expensive. So lately, there's been a good amount of Americanized fast food chains like KFC and McDonald's that, that are right there. But why travel to a rainforest to eat junk, right? Lifestyle. You want hot water, you have to stay in exclusive places. And that sometimes means you're going to pay more than you would have paid here in the US. The electricity is a public utility in most African countries. And the governments are useless. So you can go 3 days without electricity. And when you do get it, you don't know when you're going to get the next one. It's like a marathon. So you need to have a survival mindset and to be able to adapt. And unfortunately, Western people are not built like that. Black, white, doesn't matter. People are just not built like that. The next thing you need to look out for, poor infrastructure. So cities like Nairobi, Abuja, Lagos, Johannesburg, Addis Ababa, Accra, Cotonou will have good basic infrastructure. But they have their limits. So if you're expecting to get the same standards that you would in the US, you're not going to get that. However, the K through 12 education in most African countries is pretty good. I went to a basic school in Ghana, and I was still able to succeed at a US college and in grad school, right? So I think in the big cities overall, the education is pretty good.
But y'all, I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit fraud, the bullshit scams, the bullshit too expensive, the bullshit not having no snacks, the bullshit not having no food, the bullshit electricity, the bullshit hot water, the bullshit, what's that shit called that be coming down? The bullshit animals, it's scorpions outside the house, it's big ass spiders, it's big ass lizards, colorful lizards you ain't never seen before, all in the fucking room with you, sleeping with you, all the bullshit people trying to scam you when you go outside thinking you rich, so they trying to get more money off of you. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this shit. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy. Please comment down below, because for me, I'm ready to go. And I always used to say, if it's up to me, it will be. And I'm going to go out to Africa and make shit happen. No, I don't want to. I want to take my businesses back to America. I want to open up shop back in America, open up my dentist office, and all the stuff that I was going to do out here in America. Steady electricity. And the only time our electricity get cut off is when we don't pay the bill. And we got it so good now, we got prepaid electricity. So if we forget to pay the bill, we put some money on that prepaid thing and it comes right back on in 2 minutes. In less than 2 minutes. This shit right here didn't come on for 14 hours yesterday. I can't deal. I love the people. Don't get me wrong, when I'm outside, I'm having fun. I love the people. But when I come back to reality, when you come back home, home is where the heart is, right? When you come back home, you're supposed to feel comfortable, you're supposed to be happy. I'm not happy. to live in a house where you look outside and all you see is turkeys and ducks and chickens and sheeps and old malnourished cows.
And finally, you have to understand one thing. You're black, it's not my black. So all equally melanated, but internally and culturally we're different. We have nothing in common internally. Maybe a bit of music at best, but even that is nah. So yeah, you all are American spirit, and the Africans are Africans, and even within them there's a lot of diversity and division. And you really need to admit this. As uncomfortable as it may sound, you really have to accept that you're just different. But overall, the people of Africa are welcoming, and you can make very good and extensive friendships on the continent. But that's why I say you need to limit your exposure to just visits. Just with time, locals tend to resent foreigners, and they will put you in that category as a foreigner. And that's because the foreigners have a lot more money to spend, so eventually prices go up, or quote unquote tourist inflated inflation, or price hikes, right? So in summary, I think overall Africans on the African continent are very welcoming. They want to see people visit, but yet they're not going to treat you differently than they would treat a white guy from Greece, right? Or a white guy from Germany. They're going to welcome you guys the same. Now, you're going to be able to blend in because everybody looks like you. And that's the plus. But you will also face some level of discrimination over time because you don't speak the language in most cases. And you'll be subjected to high prices because you're a foreigner. I experienced that a lot in Colombia. I always admit that I'm a foreigner, albeit I speak Spanish, but it's very easy for Colombians to tell that I'm not Colombian. And that's the same way Ghanaians or Nigerians are able to tell if you're not from there when you get there.